space and welcome everybody. Thank you, Professor Caesar. Thank you. Yes, I'll mute myself. Okay, Malik, the floor is yours, dear.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Can you all hear me? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Malik Olatunde. A part of our small working group, Food Safety and Food Security, under the platform of the One Health Commission. You are all welcome. So I will be talking briefly about our small working group. Um, we are the One Health Science, Social Science, Food Safety and Food Security Working Group. Our small working group offers an opportunity for members to engage in the One Health space through scientific communication, sharing best practices to inform behavioral change for a better world. We are composed of One Health proponents and enthusiasts from diverse scientific disciplines and continents, and it aims to apply the One Health concepts and social science approaches um, to address sorry to address knowledge gaps and share best practices in food safety and security for sustainable livelihoods. We actually established this small working group in the year 2021. That's 2 years ago, and we have made progressively um, some achievements. This small working group has coordinated several webinars where we invited experts, and we have shared experiences working across food safety and security topics such as farm, food, health security, and gender equity on food security and safety. And our One Health awareness, we are the One Health platforms, and we are today we are celebrating One Health Awareness Month, and we'll be having our speakers all over the world who are very versatile in One Health advocacy and as well as food safety and food security. So our first speaker will be Ruba, who's Dr. Ruba. I don't know if he's here with us, Dr.
Uh,
Ruba Haddadi.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
thank you, Malik.
All right. Welcome. Dr. Ruba is a clinical pharmacist by education. She graduated from the University of Jordan with a MSc degree in clinical pharmacy on June 2014. And since then, she has been heavily engaged in Jordan public health, led by many development and health programs in Jordan, funded by USAID, DTRA, US CDC, in coordination with MOH, RMS, and private sector. Dr. Adadi is an antimicrobial resistance fighter. She's taking the growing global problem of AML personally. Thank you so much for coming, and we are happy to have you here. Over to you, Dr. Ruba.
Thank you, Malik. Thank you. I appreciate it. Um, Let me present my screen here. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. So, good morning, good
No,
afternoon.
no, we
Not
can't. I can't. No, we can't see your
yes.
screen yet. Oh,
Oh, I mean the presentation. No,
no, no, no, no, no.
no, not yet. Okay.
Not yet. Yes.
So I'm sharing. Let me. You're presenting to everyone. It gives me a message says that you're presenting to everyone.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, we
Yes,
can see
yeah,
it
we
now.
can see
Now
it.
you
we
We
can
can.
can.
see it. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So, thank you all for attending this meeting, let's say, and thank you for the organizing committee. Today I'm going to talk about the importance of multi-sectoral coordination in implementing the national action plans uh, to combat antimicrobial resistance. We're also going to talk about the global response and the concept of multi-sectoral coordination, the successes, the failures, and what should we do forward. So, what's antimicrobial resistance? I think all of us here know what's antimicrobial resistance, but just to make sure, antimicrobial resistance, which is a wider term than antibiotic resistance, occurs when bacteria, parasites, viruses, or fungi change to protect themselves from the effects of antibiotics,
Um,
antimicrobials.
Rhoda,
Yes, Dr.
pardon
Renda.
me, pardon me. But I guess that I can see your screen, or maybe I have an error from my side.
Actually,
Yes,
I can't see your screen, so I can only see. Okay, I
yeah.
don't know.
If you wish,
Okay.
let me check if I can share your screen or share my screen to share your presentation. Is that okay with
Oh,
you?
sure.
Yeah.
But just to make sure which the
Yes.
error on which side. Okay.
Yes.
Let me stop sharing now my screen.
Yeah, and start one more time. Maybe.
Randa?
Yes.
Yeah, one of the
Yes.
things that has Google this platform is you have to share the whole screen, not pick up a window. You have to share all the screen. Otherwise, maybe
Uh,
you may have a problem. I don't know
okay.
why, but this
So
is Google Meeting.
yeah. So maybe Dr. Ruba, you need to share the whole screen.
Yeah, that's what I did.
The first
Yeah.
option
Maybe.
when you are sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you
That's
can try again.
Dr. Ruba, I will share the presentation with Dr. Caesar in case. Yeah. Yeah. Now we can see it.
Great. Yeah, great. That's good.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, we can see now. Okay, she's muted.
It's muted.
Yes. Now you're muted. We can't hear you. اليوم في حدا نحسنا. Okay, I'm so sorry, Dr. Ruba.
Yeah. Okay. This
Yeah.
means that's good.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
Well, that means you can see my slides. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Perfect.
Perfect.
we can.
Yeah. Uh, that means that the previously effective antibiotic will not be effective to treat or prevent infections. Actually, the World Health Organization (WHO) has identified AMR as one of the biggest threats to global health. Actually, one of the top 10 threats to global health. Um, the Ironically, AMR is not something new. It has been here since the discovery of the first antibiotic. The gentleman in the frame, I think we all know who is this gentleman. He's Sir Alexander Fleming, the one who discovered penicillin, and he warned us from antimicrobial resistance since he discovered penicillin. I'm quoting here from his words in a conference. He said, "The thoughtless person playing with penicillin treatment is morally responsible for the death of the man who succumbs to infection with the penicillin resistant organism." So, even though antimicrobial resistance is not something new, but the world did not pay attention to this global threat until recently. There was a report that was led by a British economist, Sir O'Neill, who led he led a really huge effort that resulted in a report called Antimicrobial Resistance, Tackling a Crisis for the Health and Wealth of Nations. This report actually predicted or that in the AMR will result in mortality or the death of around 10 million people per year in 2050. That is more than the deaths caused by cancer, cholera, diabetes, diarrheal diseases, etc. Um, the AMR is not just causing mortality, but it's also causing economic losses, whether direct or indirect. It will cause like 2 to 3.5% reduction in gross domestic product, and the total global cost of up to 100 billion US dollar. So the cost of preventing antimicrobial resistance, regardless how costly it will be still less than the cost of we will face if we did not face and contain this issue. So, what was the global response to antimicrobial to these numbers? Let's say in 2014, there was a UN resolution during a World Health Assembly to task WHO to develop a global action plan to combat AMR. And in May 2015, the World Health Assembly adopted a global action plan on antimicrobial resistance, which outlines 5 key objectives, which we will discuss in a minute. In September 2016, there was a commitment in the UN Assembly to combat AMR. Notably, member states agreed the importance of developing national action plan. National action plan because you cannot make each country adopt and implement the global action plan. Each country should take this global action plan, the 5 strategic objectives, and tailor it to the country context, let's say. And the countries, the member states, they also agreed on one objective that by May 217, all member states will have their national action plans in place. And I can tell you that this goal was not achieved, unfortunately. So let's discuss quickly also about the key areas in the global action plan. The first one was to improve knowledge and understanding of AMR, because we want everyone to fight with us, whether in the human health sector or the animal health sector. And if you want someone to fight with you, you need to improve his knowledge about the problem. This should be through risk communication and education. The second key area is enhance knowledge through surveillance and research. We are fighting a problem, and we need to know the how big is this problem. That's through surveillance, and we want to know if we are having any projects or any treat like any alignments for this projects, we need to know how the impact of this project. So we need to focus on the national AMR surveillance to improve the laboratory capacity, which is actually the what will help the countries do the surveillance. We need to build also the capacities in research and development. Also, we need to discuss and sorry to reduce the incidence of infections through IPC measures, and this should be in the human health sectors, in the health facilities, and in the animal sector. And the fourth sector is optimize the use of antimicrobial in human and animal sector. Um this is the stewardship of antimicrobial use, and this is very important to be in the both sectors, animal and human, for simple reason. Human animal health sector consume more than 55 to 60% of the antibiotics worldwide. So we need those antibiotics to be used, let's say, wisely and in a stewardship manner. And finally, we need to assure sustainable investment through research and development. We cannot, these efforts should be sustainable, it should be funded, and this should be through measuring the burden of AMR, evaluating the investment needs, the funding gaps, let's say, and establishing procedures for participation of all stakeholders. So, as I mentioned, this is the global action plan, and every country has been requested by the World Health Assembly and the WHO to adapt its own national action plan. Um, this national action plan has been requested to be built through what is called the multi-sectoral governance approach. What do we mean by the multi-sectoral governance approach? This is the approach that is not unipolar, in other words. However, it should contain all the stakeholders that is involved in the problem and in the solution as well. So it should involve the human health sector, the food safety sector, the animal health sector, and the environment sector. I am quoting here from the WHO words in the World Health Assembly 2015 regarding the One Health approach and the multi-sectoral governance. There is a need for a coherent, comprehensive, and integrated approach at the global, regional, and national level in One Health approach and beyond, involving different actors and sectors such as human, veterinary medicine, agriculture, finance, environment, and consumers. So this is the first reason, let's say, that why we need a multi-sectoral approach in implementing national action plans. Also, we need, if we need, like, let's say, more reasons, I see this sketch very simple and explanatory for the national, for the multi-sectoral, for the antimicrobial resistance, sorry. For the antimicrobial resistance cycle, we have multiple cycles for the antimicrobial resistance bacteria. And this, Mr. George here can help us explain this cycle. Mr. George feels ill and he takes some antibiotics that will develop antimicrobial resistance bacteria in his gut. He doesn't feel better, so he is admitted to the hospital. Just like any other hospital-acquired infections, Mr. George like antimicrobial resistant bacteria will be transmitted to the staff, to the other inpatients, etc. And in a way or another, those will be back to the population, society, I mean, and they will transmit this antimicrobial resistance to the society. That's the first cycle, which is the human cycle. And we should work with the we should work with human hospitals and the human like health institutions to break this cycle. The other cycle is that those antibiotics is given to animals, whether for many reasons, mainly to promote growth, to prevent infections, and maybe sometimes to treat infections. However, those like animals are sent to consumption before the level of antibiotic reaches a safe level, i.e., they still have residues of like antimicrobial resistance bacteria. So these bacteria will be transmitted to the population here. And also there is another cycle, which is the environment cycle, because those animals will through feces and through water cycle, etc., it will be transmitted through water, etc., through crops that will be consumed by population. And also, actually, there is another cycle here that is not mentioned. The health facilities will send sometimes many like antibiotic through their sewage and through through incorrect anti like waste management, etc. So it also will reach the environment, and in a way or another it will reach the population. So this is why if we need to solve the antibiotic resistance problem, we need to work together, because it is a problem uh, for all parties or stakeholders, let's say, or if we can call it this way. More reasons. I actually mentioned this, that more than 55% of the antibiotics is consumed by animal health. And for epidemiologists, this is a very common. They know that if you want to break a disease cycle or understand a cycle of disease, to break it, you need to study the disease cycle. And more than 60% of pathogens that cause human diseases originate from domestic animals or wildlife. So you cannot actually say that you want to promote human health and prevent diseases or like new antimicrobial resistance bacteria without working with animal veterinary, like vets or animal scientists, etc. So, okay, we know what should we do, but how we are doing right now. The results for 2019 2020 show that 88% of the 136 countries have responded to the requests of the WHO and had a national action plan on place. However, only 20% of those countries have fully financed their national action plan. That means there is a major gap in implementation for comprehensive and sustainable implementation. This means simply, without like using like very big words, that there is a big gap between having a national action plan in place and implementing it. Um, there is I also added here like some results from a report or a paper that was published in the Lancet last year for the antimicrobial resistance collaborators. Um I really advise you all to have, or suggest that you all have a look. They say that and I am quoting literally, on the basis of our predictive statistical models, there were an estimated of 4.95 million deaths associated with the bacterial AMR in 2019. And that's really 4.95 million. And these are like really huge numbers. So we are doing really bad, including 1.27 million deaths attributable to bacterial AMR. So these are really numbers, alarming numbers, and we should be like really doubling our efforts. Uh, those were the bad news. However, there are some good news. For example, the quadripartite, and we know the quadripartite. It's the FAO, the WHO, and the World Organization for Animal Health, previously known as OIE, and the United Nations Environment Program. They launched a new platform to tackle antimicrobial resistance threat. Uh, this is the link if you're interested. I also suggest that you all go and have a look at this platform. They are aiming to unite and synchronize the effort between those four global entities or organizations to in regarding like research, funding, surveillance. So this was an excellent step that was achieved in 2022. Also, there is excellent news regarding the antimicrobial sales, that it has fallen up to 65% in major markets. And that's usually actually mainly regarding the consumption in the animal markets and in Europe. This is excellent, but we cannot link it to the decrease in AMR actually. It's too early. uh, this is how we are doing. So what should we do? WHO has published a handbook for, they call it like 6 steps for successful implementation of national action plans. They started, and that's why I added here, they started with strengthening coordination, collaboration, and governance of national action plan. And the good governance is the One Health approach and the collaboration between the multi sectors involved. And we already clarified. After that, we should prioritize activities. This we call it in projects and programs. We call it the low-hanging fruit, especially in low and middle-income countries. But the secret here is to keep going. After that, we should coast the national AMR plan, identify funding gaps, implement the activities, and monitor and evaluate. Um, it's worth mentioning that if we want the national action plan to be sustainable, we should try our best to identify local funding resources before we go and let's say seek external funding. It's not wrong to seek external funding, but to be sustainable, it's better if we seek at least whatever we can like find or secure local funding. Regarding the monitoring and evaluation, I wanted also to add here that also the WHO is having within its strategic goals for the glass. we all know the GLAS, which is the global AMR antimicrobial resistance use resistance and use surveillance system. They are aiming to monitor, to have the surveillance as integrated and not just from the human side, especially regarding the foodborne bacteria. They are aiming to have it to have data regarding the monitoring and surveillance of monitoring and monitoring of use, monitoring of resistance, and towards fully integrated analysis and reporting. This has been started in some countries. There are some countries have piloted this efforts in Africa, Eastern Mediterranean. Jordan is still piloting this, for example, in Southeast Asia, Western Pacific Asia, Malaysia, for example, and some countries, and for example, Africa, and big bravo for these countries, and in Eastern Mediterranean, they have accomplished the integrated surveillance system, and that's great. Thank you so much for your great listening, and back to you, Dr. Randa.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ruba. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruba, for your great presentation and how you have highlighted the national action plan which are implemented in most countries around the world. Also have highlighted how we should be part of tackling antimicrobial resistance around the world. So I would like to ask the audience if they have any question before moving on to to our discussion. We might discuss with Dr. Ruba for a few minutes the question that we had. Where no yeah, yeah, the question that we had asked in our in the chat box. Okay, so yes, in the Q&A session. So we'd like to ask the audience about their thoughts regarding the implemented national action plan in their countries. And it's going to be an open discussion with Dr. Ruba since she's expert in the field. And it's our pleasure to share your knowledge with everybody. Thank you so much. Please, if anyone would like to share his or her thought, please unmute yourself.
Okay, can I?
Yes, please go ahead, Dr.
Okay.
Muhammad.
Okay, thank you for giving me this chance to collaborate with you. Dr. Roba, you had a very critical issue because antimicrobial resistance is a main factor for increasing the megabugs or the superbugs. One of the microbes that we cannot challenge with even heavy artillery. If you can imagine antimicrobials as a weapon, so even heavy artillery cannot affect these megabugs or superbugs. I wanted to share just knowledge that around the world, every 3 seconds, there is someone is dying because of antimicrobial resistance. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Dr. Muhammad. And also, Dr. Rubashi has mentioned an important note about how they are misusing antimicrobials in the animal health field in general. So I'd like to mention a few things about the situation here in Jordan, since it's a country in the Middle East. Unfortunately, that the agriculture law gives the gives the right for the fraudulent, no, no, not let's not discuss the fraudulent situation. Let's discuss the agriculture, maybe engineer situation, that they can prescribe antimicrobials. So from this point, I'd like to mention that specialization, we need it more in our field, so we can tackle antimicrobial resistance in a proper way. So, if there is any veterinarian who would like to share his thoughts about his or her thoughts about misusing antimicrobials in the animal health field, please, also the floor is yours. Okay, come on, let's be more interactive. Okay. So now let's move on to the next. Uh, okay, now let's move on to the next part of our webinar today. Let's now Malik, please go ahead and introduce Dr. Muhammad or Michael, please. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, yes, we
Yes, we
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you. Go on.
All right. Yeah, I'll just try to be brief for the sake of time. The next speaker is Dr. Mohamad AbdRabou, and he's a veterinarian by profession and studied his PhD in food hygiene, safety, and quality control. He's currently responsible for the sales and technical expertise in the Middle East and North Africa region. And he also holds an MBA in marketing. So, Dr. Mohammed, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Malik. Thank you, Dr. Randa. Thank you for the audience for giving me this chance to give my thoughts or something about the mycotoxins and their effect. Can you see my screen?
Actually, no, but
I shared my screen, my presentation. It's obvious now? Or?
actually, no, we can't see it. But can you please just share the whole screen? If you can't, I can share it from my side.
Okay. So now?
Okay. Yes, it's perfect. Thank you, sir.
Let's
Thank you very
start.
much.
So I had a lot of informations and a lot of talk. So I will cut it short. I want all to know the slogan: the simplicity of source and the complexity of problem. This is the main topic of mycotoxins, because mycotoxins is a very big topic. It's around us. We don't know. We can't taste it. We can't detect it. It's in our food. It's in our any kind of food, from bread to meat or fish or etc., even to seeds. Even in it affects planet. It affects plant and animals and human. That's all. So I was introduced. Thank you I'm a veterinarian from my background. So most of my talk will be in the circle of animal, which is in the middle circle between plant and human, which will be affected by both. So why I'm talking about mycotoxins? Because it affects plant. We need to know when do mycotoxins appear and how. What strategies we can make to eliminate mycotoxins in plants for animal or human usage. In the circle of animal, does it affect the compound and the monogastric animals? Because most of people or most of scientists can claim that compound stomach or ruminants can destroy or cannot be affected by mycotoxins, which is scientifically not proven, and now it's proven in the vice versa, that it has a lot of effect on animal production, in milk, in meat, in eggs, and so on. How to detect its effect on animal health, how we can detect it, how to minimize its impact. So we coming to the last circle, human. What sources of toxicity to the human, how to recognize the problem, and how to eliminate mycotoxins effect. Most of us may know or not don't know about mycotoxins. Mycotoxins are secondary metabolites of molds that have adverse effect on humans, animals, and the crops that result in illness and economic losses. They call it the silent killer, or the silent venom, or silent poison, because it has no taste, has no odor, and you cannot detect the source. Most famous mycotoxins are aflatoxins, ochratoxins, trioxins, zearalenone, fumensis, teratogenic toxins, and ergot alkaloids. These are the greatest agroeconomics importance around the worldwide. Contamination of food and feeds with mycotoxins is a significant problem. Some molds are capable of producing more than one mycotoxin, and this is another problem because mycotoxins have the synergetic effect. It's like any other substances, like antibiotics. When you say synergy, which mean 1 + 1, it's equal 3 or 4 or maybe 5. This is a big problem because we can detect one type of mycotoxins and not exceeding the permissible limit in the feed or in the food, and we can give it a permission to be passed, to be consumed, and we can know after that there is a problem because it has another one we didn't detect it. Mycotoxins have around 400 types, which is different, and this is very difficult to be detected in the feed or the food. Mycotoxicosis also remain unrecognized by medical professionals, except when large numbers of people are involved, or large number of cattle or sheep or plants and so on. So these are the conditions that must be applied, so the mold can produce its mycotoxins or its toxin in the feed. Humidity must be humid, temperature between 20 and 30% degree. Mechanical damage, which means that the corn or silage or soya bean, when it has the whole seed, it's resistible to mycotoxins. But when it's breaking or it's being mazed or crushed, it will have a mechanical damage, which means it's more susceptible to mold infection and mycotoxin release. Damage from insects, which can get the content of the seed outside, which is a very good media for molds to be around and release its mycotoxins. Substrate composition means some substances we can add or mix together, which be infected by mold already and can transfer mold and mycotoxins to the transferred. Spore load, if it has some spores of mold. Use of pesticides also can be susceptible because pesticides can kill some molds and let others grow up and release their mycotoxins. Blend variety, if we must be separating from corn, from silage, from soybean, and so on. Plant moisture itself, if it has a more moisture, which means it is more susceptible for spoilage and presence of molds. If you can see here, this is some samples in the farms or in ruminant farm, a dairy farm, which has corn or silage which is infected by molds, which means there is a release of mycotoxins. But what if we cannot find the mold itself? This doesn't mean the absence of mycotoxins, because the molds can die and let the mycotoxins on the feed or the food, and we cannot detect it. This is a problem. So we have a growing and harvesting, and then storage, which is a series we use for corn or silage or the feed or food through the supply chain. So we can have fusarium toxins or aflatoxins, which is in hot media, but fusarium in cool media. By the way, fusarium is very toxic. Even 1 gram can kill a horse. In harvesting impact, delaying harvesting can increase the mold growth also, or increased mycotoxins formation. Also, as I said before, does presence of moldy feed mean mycotoxin production? This is no. Mold or musty feed won't always contain mycotoxins. Does it mean no detrimental impact on cow health or animal health? Reduction in production performance and increase in health problem from moldy feed are moderate even if mycotoxins are not present, because it can affect all these areas, which means the stomach or compound stomach, the uterus, the udder, even the ingestion in the cow. I want to also to highlight there is a difference between mycosis and mycotoxicosis. This is a huge difference because mycotoxins group is a secondary residues produced by fungi, while mycosis is the infections of the mold itself. But mycotoxicosis is the infection of the substance released by molds. So there is a difference, and this is a big issue, and this is the main difference that the main problem of mycotoxicosis of mycotoxins. 25% of the world agriculture products contaminated with mycotoxins, which means we can lose our crops, our soil production because of mycotoxins, because it cannot be used, because it will make illness to animal and human also, because it has immune suppression causing a disease. This is a mold effect. But mycotoxicosis is disease caused by consumption of mycotoxins, contaminated feed, and produced by mold. As I say, simplicity of source and the complexity of problem. Fungi is a simple organism, very simple requirement for existence. What's their simplicity of source? Carbon and nitrogen, which is around all the plants, water or humidity, high temperature, oxygen for their access for oxygen to grow and multiply, specific minerals or two required for biosynthesis of mycotoxins. This is mean a simple reproductive mechanism. You can see that mold are generally asexual. Most molds exhibit multiple reproductive stages. Durability under harsh or adverse conditions, because molds are not easy to crush, because they can make spores in some types which are resistant to crushing or even hard conditions in the environment. Complexity of problem, because nature of animal feed operation, we have forage, grain, oil seeds, supplements, pasture. All of them are rich in carbon, nitrogen, which is consumed by molds. It has water activity or moisture. If you can see silage or like pickling of corn, it's an aerobic media process, not perfect, and low oxygen tension may exist at some or many points within the silage storage unit and make it susceptible for mold growth, which mean producing more than one kind of mycotoxins. There is around 350 to 400 type of mycotoxins around the world. what are the negative impact of mycotoxins in animal like dairy cow? Because I said before, mycotoxins are a very big issue. So I'm giving one example for dairy cow. It can reduce the feed intake. It can decrease the zootechnical performances, which mean the livability and the actions and digestion and so on, reproduction issues, milk quality, which is consumed by human, reduced milk production, and increase the somatic cell count, which resembles the immune suppression of the animal health. As you can see here, the aflatoxins can be found in corn, as every substance or every feed ingredient can have one or two of mold that are susceptible to grow, and so which mean we can detect one or two kind of mycotoxins in it, but this doesn't mean the absence of other mycotoxins. Aflatoxins is present in corn, which was produced by Aspergillus flavus and Aspergillus parasiticus, which need hot and dry media or climate. الدون او الفومكسين او الزيرالينون او الزون is fusarium produced by Fusarium gramineum or Fusarium colorum, which is present in corn, wheat, oats, rye, and barley. Fumensis, which is present in corn in even warm or hot or dry climate. Ochratoxins, which is in harvest condition, present in corn produced by Penicillium verocram. Here we can see the structure or chemical structure of each or the main mycotoxins that can be affecting or can be detected in the feeds of animal, like aflatoxins, which has two horns like oxygen horns and can be captured and by polarized. Zearalenone, which has an ester group. Ochratoxins, which has an two horn of oxygen also. Fumens, which is a compound, phenolic compound. Toxin, T2 toxin. Don or detoxinil, which is present can affect immunity, and it has no charge. So from this chemical structure, we can see there's some mycotoxins are charged and some are not charged. So this is a complexity also in dealing with this problem. So as I said before, some people say that flora or microbiome in rumen can work or even destroy the mycotoxins, but this is or make the detoxification of mycotoxins, but this claim is not correct, because it depends on age of the animal, state of health of animal, feed effective fiber rate of ruminal feed passage, the population of protozoa which present in the rumen itself, level of contamination of mycotoxins in the feed, duration of feeding, which mean if there is a continuous feeding about one month or 2 months, will affect the liver and the immunity, which the main detoxifying organ in the animal. Milking yield and the phase, if it's heavy milking, which means this is a stress on its immune system and its productivity. Rumen status is there is acidosis, there is ketosis, and so on. All these factors can affect the mycotoxins detoxification ability of the rumen itself. Only 20 to 40% of mycotoxins are really detoxified in rumen, which means 80 to 16% are not detoxified and pass to human via milk or meat production. So I will recap this. Capacity of rumen and flora, as I said before. Let's go to feed to milk production. There is a big phenomena concerning the mycotoxins, which is a carryover effect. Carryover means if you feed your cow, let's say aflatoxin, which were one of the mycotoxins, it will be accumulated in its liver, and it will release it in the milk, which will be consumed either by hair calves or babies or human, and cannot be detected, and making a lot of problem because it will be accumulated in human liver too. The aflatoxin B1, which is present in corn or feed, will become aflatoxin M1, which will be released in milk. This is not the only issue, but it will be in exaggerated concentration, which means if you have 1 part per million in liver of aflatoxin, it will be 50 part per million in milk. It's 50 times, which means more danger to human consumption. Is there is a relation between ingested aflatoxin B1 and the excreted amount of aflatoxin M1 in milk transfer from feed to milk, which means the carryover effect? Yes. Initially, 1 to 2% of ingested aflatoxin and 6 to 0.2% in high-yielding cows with consumption of significantly higher amount of concentrate feed. These are transferred. What are the factors influencing extent of transfer from feed to milk, or the carryover, as we said? The feeding regime as a nutritional and physiological factor, the rate of ingestion, the rate of digestion, the health of the animal itself, it have a mastitis or lameness or other blood-milk barrier, and so on. pH gradient between blood and milk, which can filtrate all the aflatoxins present in the blood. Hepatic biotransformation capacity, actual milk production in the cow itself. Is there a model of calculation to determine carryover ingested aflatoxin? Yes, they made this is just in the scientific review. If we have here half part per billion in milk, it will be 20 part per million for dairy feed. So it will be 50 times the concentration. So there is a summary of aflatoxins or mycotoxins as a whole. There is a recommendation for the permissible limit in feed or in milk. We must stick to the rules so we can avoid this problem or prevent it from consumption in human, and so on. The zearalenone, which is affecting the reproductive system in both animal and human. Vomoxin or DON, which is a vomiting toxin. It affects the vomiting center of both also human and animal. Also, we have the toxin, T2 toxin, which affects the immunity, the immune suppression, and we have the fumicin, which can affect the digestion and the making cancers or carcinogenic. I will highlight about also the combined effect of mycotoxins and the synergy effect, which is means 1 plus 1 can equal 5, not 1 as additive effect. 1 plus 1 equal 2. This is present in this synergetic effect is present in mycotoxins also. Also, the mycotoxins affect the ingredient of the diet or the feed by reducing protein and energy 5%, dietary fat reduced by 5 to 10%, vitamin losses, spoiled forages, and all the animal organs are affected from decreased feed intake or decreased feed efficiency. The rumen digestion will be affected or impaired, diarrhea, ketosis, fatty liver. irregular heat as a reproductive problem, abortion, embryonic losses. Even in bulls will have low testicular development or low sperm production, and even in milk production it will be lowered. Contamination of milk, which will not be suitable for human consumption, which mean loss of production, mastitis, and increases somatic cell count, representing the immunity, lameness or laminitis, also with impaired thermoregulation and affected by heat stress and climatic conditions. Also, the fat is reduced by 5 to 10%, as I said. So these are the also the one of the concepts for mycotoxins, that it has its own target. The target organ for each mycotoxins has his own target. Also, we have here dietary strategies to reduce mycotoxins effect. We can reduce the mycotoxins effect in animal by bunk phase management, dilution of contaminated feed, feed the mycotoxins bender, feed contaminated feeds to low risk animals like dry cow, or feed beef if it not it is contaminated by aflatoxins, it will be released in milk. So I can feed it to beef which is not producing milk. Test and forage grain must be tested. Every grain or feed ingredient will be tested during the production phase. Ration changes, so it can be not be a cumulative effect. Also, there is antimycotoxins substances like physical or chemical or biological, using some probiotics or some yeast, some lactobacillus can have some effect on mycotoxins. Also, as you can see, adsorbents, which has the power to absorb mycotoxins from the feed or even in the ration itself, but it has must have some characters, like it has an cation exchange capacity like a magnet. It's not too powerful to not to trap vitamins and minerals in the ration, which will cause another problem. It has a net charge which can be determined. Distribution of charges, it's been equal in all the surface, has a porosity and size microscope, so can collect a lot of a bigger or biggest amount of mycotoxins. External surface area, it has a huge external surface area, can be swallowed to animal easily, has a polarity, has a solubility, the shape and size, it's not affecting the animal itself. Distribution of charges. So I'm coming to, these are examples of mycotoxins absorptions, like aluminum silicate, polymers, activated carbons, yeast cell walls, micronized fibers, and bacteria. I will not say the examples, so I will pass it. So we have organic and inorganic adsorbents. So we have some like huskers, modified huskers, yeast cell wall, enzymes and microorganisms, combined both huskers, yeast cell wall, extract, and microorganism. These are the main strategy to control mycotoxins in animals, which means the big chain in this problem. Take away home. So this is my last slide. What mycotoxins do mean? I think we all know about it. How to identify mycotoxin problem, how to eliminate mycotoxins problem, why to take care of mycotoxins. According it affects the 3 dimensions we're talking about: plant, animal, and human. Conclusion and shifting paradigm that we must take care of mycotoxins. So as I say, simplicity of problem and simplicity of the source, but complexity of the problem. Thank you again, the One Health Commission. Thank you, Dr. Randa, for giving me. Thank you for the audience, and I'm come to it. Thank you very much. If there is any question, I'm ready.
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Mohamad, for your great presentation. Actually, I'm gonna share it with my colleagues since it's related to my kind of recent work. Yes, yeah, that's I guess that's a clever choice that you have to choose mycotoxins to discuss it with us today, especially that we are discussing social sciences in One Health. And the first part, Dr. Rubachi has discussed the multi-sectoral. Is that oh yeah, and the multi-sectoral collaboration for tackling antimicrobial resistance. And now Dr. Mohamad AbdRabou, he has discussed with us the mycotoxins. Social sciences is not only a concept relevant to the culture, it also it's concept related to the animal health in indirect way, as Dr. Mohamad mentioned, how the mycotoxins affect in the animal production and how it also has an impact on the economic. So social science plays a critical role in One Health approach. And now, before moving to our next webinar, I'd like just to ask, as we have mentioned in the chat box, if anyone who would like, especially if you're a veterinarian or an agriculture engineer, if you would like to share with us a story from the field about your experience in dealing with mycotoxins outbreak. Actually, I don't have since I don't work in the field directly. But if anyone would like share with us, that would be a great opportunity. You can unmute yourself, and if you have any question to Dr. Mohamad AbdRabou, please, the floor is yours. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask him your question. Thank you. ليش أنا نص وجه؟
Dr. Mohammed,
Yeah,
thank you for the technical presentation. I see why you're a technical expert. I just wanted to ask a question, rather a simple one concerning mycosis and mycotoxicosis. Does mycosis always lead to mycotoxicosis, or is it a similar case as what you have mentioned, to say that you may have mycotoxicosis, but it does not necessarily mean that the mycosis is still there? So how does it work on the other end of the spectrum?
So you mean we can have mycosis, but we cannot have mycotoxosis. So there's a question.
Yes, I
Yes,
just because
and
I'm
vice
looking at it.
versa. And
Yes.
vice versa, because we have a long supply chain here in the Middle East. For example, in Egypt, we import soya bean and corn for animal feed or human feed, so on. It can be it can appear physically or apparently normal, no mycosis, but it have mycotoxins in it, because molds can be destructed and can be dried, so you cannot detect it. But the mycotoxins can be present in the feed ingredient itself. So there is no relation between mycosis and the mycotoxicosis, because you can have one, but you cannot detect the other.
I see. Because the reason why I'm asking, I'm looking at it from a from a perspective or a point of view of a smallholder farmer or a rural farmer. If you were to advise them, should they discard any feed stuff that seems to be contaminated, or because the other challenge is that even if it's contaminated, you may not know because of you say it's a silent killer in a way, that no
If you
smell,
can,
no. Yes.
if we go back to the presentation, you will see that quarter of our feed or soil coming from soil in the world are contaminated with mycotoxins, which means a lot of production will be lost. This means you cannot avoid this hazard you will have mycotoxins in your farm or your local farm. Anywhere in the world, you will have it. Discarding this ration will be costly, will not be applicable, but the most applicable is to have some calibration of your feed ingredients. You must make some tests against mycotoxins for all the feed ingredients you use, detect the permissible limit, and using appropriate anti-mycotoxins for your feed to eliminate this hazard. There is another strategy. If you have a ration or a feed ingredient that's high, you can mix it. You can dilute the mycotoxins effect in it and use liver enhancers and immune enhancer to your cows or your poultry, so you can avoid also. There's a lot of strategies.
I see. Thank you. But the other thing, the orientation of the presentation is more applicable and useful to a commercial farmer. So in the space of One Health and social sciences, science communication, reaching the marginalized, there's more that needs to be done, I see.
I didn't get it, Michael. What do you mean?
Well, I was saying that it's more tailored towards a commercial farmer. There are more points of intervention for a commercial farmer to avoid or to try to mitigate for this problem. But looking at smallholder farmers and rural farmers, there's still more that we need to do in order to assist them in that regard.
I think every problem has must have an awareness level. If we have the awareness on all levels, in small or big or medium levels, in farmers, in consumers, in feed producers, we can eliminate this problem. Um, as you can see, the problem can affect us even in meat products. Meat byproducts can have a soybean meal or some feed additive. All these can contain the hazard, not the meat itself, but the feed additives that used for human or making the byproduct or meat byproduct itself can affect the human and can contain a hazard of mycotoxins. Also, the awareness can give us a big picture of the problem itself to handle it or to eliminate it or to recognize it, because يعني the last research I read about this, a farmer family, their son, which was 4 years old, had a liver cancer. Um, wow, liver cancer in 4 years old. This is not acceptable at all. But when detected, we knew after that he is using a spoiled feed for his cow, and his son consumes this milk as a raw milk, not even boiled and so on. So this is one of the causes. When we tested the milk, it has a very high level of aflatoxin M1. So this is a very very dangerous thing. If he knew that this will affect his family, he will not do it, or he
All right,
will.
thank you
Oh,
so much.
thank you. Any other question? I'm ready.
Yes, if there's any question to Dr. Mohamad AbdRabou, maybe. Um okay, actually, Dr. Mohamad AbdRabou, he is kind of experienced in technically for the uh, anything related to the in the Middle East in general for the animal health. So please, if you have any question, feel free to ask him. before moving on to our next session, which is going to be with Dr. Elena. Actually, Professor Cesar is going to share her presentation. Dr. Elena, are you with us? Okay. Dr. Elena, she's going to yes, she's able to answer only the questions, but we're gonna share her recorded presentation. Please, Malik or Michael, feel free to introduce Dr. Elena, because now we will move to another aspect of social sciences in One Health, I think related to climate change and gender equity. A nice topic to discuss. So please, Michael or Malik, feel free. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad.
I was delighted today being with you all. Thank you. I hope I was a right guest. Thank you.
No, you were nice. بتجنن. Thank you so much. Okay, Malik, Michael, let's move on to the next presentation with Dr. Elena. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, yes, can. Sorry about that, Brenda. Can you hear me?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'll introduce the next speaker, Dr. Elena. She has a PhD and she's the principal researcher of the EV Consultancy, a small consultancy company based in Denmark. Elena collaborates directly with the activities of the Network for One Health and EcoHealth and the other running EU and local projects. She has been working as a postdoc in the DTU Food and Sustainability Department in Denmark, and since 2013 she has been affiliated with One Health. She has a PhD in human, animal, and environmental risk assessment related to chemical substances, and she has many years of experience working with interdisciplinary international projects and teams within the topics of One Health or public health, animal, human, and environmental risk assessment, food safety, and toxic chemicals. She's involved in the gender equity of the NEOH group, which is the One Health and Gender Working Group of the EcoHealth International, and she applies gender lens to all the commitments both in public and private sector. Thank you, Dr. Elena. The platform is yours.
So we just need to wait just for a few moments for the presentation to be ready. So I apologize also from the audience, and because it's kind of too big a presentation. So I hope it will work with us. But meanwhile, we would also like to share with the audience that this presentation is in partnership with IVSA Alumni and IVSA SCOW, One Health SCOW, One Health. So also at the end of our webinar today, we would like to share a few things about IVSA. IVSA, it's the International Veterinary as a student association, alumni for who had graduated from the veterinary college. We have Miriam Zakaria from EFSA here with us, and I guess also Laura. Okay, so please bear with us till we. Yes, Dr. Elena is with us, but she's going to speak after the presentation. But if you can, Dr. Elena, just share the presentation because it's too big. and it didn't work with me right now while doing the webinar. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Caesar. Thank you. Okay. And now because it's a recorded presentation, yeah, we need to play the record. Yes. Okay. Can you hear us? Actually, Professor, the presentation volume is too low.
It's not working, Randa?
Only the audio of the presentation is not working, but I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, hold a second. Give me a second. Let me see if I can do it.
Oh, there's a white bird around you, Doctor.
Yeah, yeah, there's the problem. Let me see if I can fix it here. Oh, this is too big.
Yeah. Is that
This is
our?
too big.
Yeah, that's our voice.
So if I put the presentation, you cannot hear the audio?
No, we didn't hear the audio.
Okay, I don't know how to do it now from here.
Uh,
Let me
maybe if
see.
you do it, yeah, maybe she, Dr. Elena, she's telling us that maybe she can try to do it live.
Okay, okay, great. So do you want me to share again the PPT?
Yes, please. Please try Dr. Elena with us. Even there's some noise around you, that's okay.
Okay, well, I can do this. So you want me to share the PPT and Dr. Elena is going to speak on live?
Yes.
Yes,
Is it?
hi everyone, I'm here. Sorry, it's just that
Okay,
in Denmark at this time is time with all the kids and eating time and so on. So it's not so convenient, but very honored to be there in the conference.
Medium enterprise called AV Consultant.
so
Now I can hear myself.
Yes.
I'm particularly interested to gender equality lens.
Okay, so
And
better
all
the
my
registration.
experience as human health risk assessor and environmental health risk assessor and about sustainability is now seen by the gender equality view. And I'm a chemist myself with a PhD in human health risk assessment. And I've been working many years into the risk for chemicals for human health and related also to food safety and food security. So In this little talk, I would like to give you some ideas. What is the philosophy behind putting together the gender equality, chemical impact, and climate change?
Okay, maybe if Dr. Elena just do it live because the voice is not clear enough.
Yeah, I guess it's the best. If you can just move the slide, or yeah, it would be easier. But it is, thank you so much. So actually, what is important here is to think about the vulnerable groups. And in particular, as you know, these not vulnerable groups can be both in the environment and in a human. And when we talk about gender equality, it's not only the sex, male and female, but it's also about the minorities, like it can be ethnic minorities, or it can be the problem with I mean the fact that children and the women are usually more exposed to chemicals, for example.
So what is important is
Okay, now you should shut up my voice, otherwise it's too
exposure, the effects on human health and the environment.
Yes. Can you switch off the audio there?
Impact, like it is for example, pharmaceutical compounds for a treatment. Medical treatment can be absolutely can be equal for everyone, for a child, for a woman, and for men. It should be defined and different. So this is a bit the base of everything. So what we see now here is something that came from the United Nations program on environment, and that is too little and too slow. It is this adaptation for the risk of the climate change. You see this big wave and the little umbrella. So what we should focus, I guess, is really the gender equality to cover, to help, to protect people that are at the first impact in this big change. So here is a little bit the picture, but you can see that the global surface temperature change is increasing. That is not something completely new. And the problem is that if there
Okay, so now please, Dr. Elena, if you have any time, any chance.
It's just that until I'm here.
Yeah, thank you.
Otherwise, you can just share the presentation. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's possible. But I mean, I should. What is going on now? Yeah.
Yeah, if Professor Caesar, can you please just share the presentations without without Dr. Elena audio, and then please, Dr. Elena, just 10 minutes.
Otherwise,
Because
Yeah.
But if you can share the I guess without audio is the best. So I just go through the slides.
Sorry, yeah, I can try to do that, but I don't know because if I put in presentation, it is already linked to the audio.
Yeah, okay, but it was not bad actually. I mean, we could hear that. Otherwise, I should open now and so on. But
let me see if I can mute this, but I don't know if I can do it from here because this is already recorded.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. I don't know how to do it. Oh, okay. I see it. I saw it. Hold on a second.
Otherwise, I should find on my computer, and it take a bit of time.
Okay, let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, you just have to put the mute, I guess, down.
Yeah, I did it. So you
Okay.
want this one?
Yeah,
Let's
if
try.
you just enlarge so I can, I just try to go with the same rhythm.
Now, no, it's still the audio there.
Yeah, but it was okay. I mean, I guess it was okay to listen.
Okay. No. Oh my gosh.
So here we have the interaction between hazard, exposure, and vulnerability. And you have here down all the references which you need to see. But you see that it's related first to age, gender, mobility, access to care, socioeconomic status, pre-existing condition, characteristics of health systems. So it went from a hazard, it became a risk. And the risk is correlated to vulnerability and, of course, exposure. So it's actually very interesting that some particular groups are more affected by some problems. Again, there is a strong association, and here we come from the foodborne diseases, in increases of foodborne diseases and high water temperatures, for example, long summer season, very high confidence, and there is occur with the possibility of transmission pathways through the food chain and the wide range of foodborne pathogens. And this is nothing new, but it's said again and again. Not only so, we said the problem of bacteria, virus, but also the problem of chemicals, because the chemicals can potentially release more freely if there is some suddenly very fast climate change. So a lot of water, for example, can release something from the soil, or heavy rains can also release something that keep down from the roof of the houses, or something that it was spread as pesticides into the drinkable water. So there are many studies about that. But of course, the risk of chemical risk assessment, and microbiological risk increase with the possibility of a heat wave that is faster. Here again, we see that there is a gender dimension on climate-related migration, and an observed impact on exposure to chemical contaminants. So climate change in northern regions, including Arctic ecosystem, is causing permafrost that is creating the potential for mercury, for example, to enter in the food chain. And this is just one of the examples. And also the bioaccumulator and biomagnification of toxic and fat-soluble persistent organic pollutants and the PCBs are just increasing. And this is, of course, something affecting the indigenous population that are not aware of that, and sometimes the currents in the water bring directly more chemicals, unfortunately, to some population. For example, I'm mentioning Faroe Island, that is full of plastic in the moment, and the plastic is not coming from Faroe Island. They come from far away. So it should be something that is completely, I would say, measured the climate change on the gender differences and the gender equality level. And here I would like to mention something I'm very familiar to, because I've been working a lot with, that is called endocrine disruptors. That are chemicals, so a mixture of chemicals that interfere with the way the body hormones work. And in this respect, again, climate change can release more in the environment some of those chemicals because of what I said, for example, some plastics that move very far away from where they were, or it can just not be the plastic, but something floating out from the water, and something that it was maybe bioaccumulate and again release faster than it was before. So those chemicals come from the farm production, industrial activities, personal home care, medical care. So it's comprehensive also pharmaceutical compounds. And all of those chemicals, some of them, they are also acting together in so-called mixture activities. That is not just 1 + 1 is 2, but is something that is still a bit unknown. And it can affect the hormone system of the first generation, but also second generation. So they may have some toxic effect that jump one generation, but come back again and give, now we see in the next slides, less fertilities and more problems. Yeah, here I just put this together with the climate change and gender equality. So what I said is that endocrine disruptor chemicals influence both together human health, environmental health, plus they're also bioaccumulating and persistent in the environment. So here is what are the problems associated with that. So obesity, insulin resistance, to make some example, diabetes and liver abnormalities, cholesterol levels, and then we can have the metabolic syndromes and diabetes. And then again, some resistant expression, upregulation in animal studies. And it can be many more. And what we don't know is also something that there are the famous not communicable diseases that are still there, and sometimes they may be caused by a mixture of those chemicals. What is very important, and this is a slide that is really gender equality slide, that we see that those chemical affect most the moment of menopause and pregnancy and the fertility window and peri-pubertal age. And in particular, what is very, very scary is that it's been seen that in some particular window of the evolution, human evolution, but also animal evolution, those chemicals can really block the fertility or give some bad impacts on the status of the fetus. Plus giving more problems along the menopause or also andropause, but with differences between women and men. So it's quite a source of study. As I said before, climate change affects endocrine disruptor chemicals because the current detection limits or limits for having a sort of problem in the start having problems may change with the heat. And not always we have those values. So the experiments on animals have been conducted at a certain temperature, and maybe another temperature can give another type of issues. And we don't know all this. So it's giving an extra way to be careful about those situations. So as I said, abiotic factors associated with global climate change can be extra stress factors. So this temperature, acidification, salinity, early stage of life, adult life, water level, give new conditions to be used for toxic studies, and not always there are these new toxic studies. So where there is a question mark, there is uncertainty, and there is a possible risk. So what is the philosophy? We talked about philosophy. I would say research awareness that gender equality is connected with One Health, climate change, and endocrine disruptor chemicals, to make an example of chemicals impact, for example. And I would say mainly to socio-economical, political decisions, when we decide to not use anymore to put in the chain some products that can be from the pharmaceutical compound, from a certain bottle of plastic, and rarely special needs, rare diseases, handicapped people, minorities, they're not considered as they should, neither children, neither women. So this famous 3R, reuse, reduce, refine, it should be seen everything from also point of view of the minorities, and also the consume of women, the different type of consume from men, of women, the different type of work, the different type of healthcare and household, and so on. So it's another, let's say, viewpoint. It's another way to have a look to what is going on right now, if we take the gender as a big lens to see the current problems. Of course, what it works here, and this is again social science and this dissemination communication. So it's a sort of educating people and women, spreading the reports, making an understanding of meanings of the data, awareness of the population, to check the governance management, developing countries, gender equality, interdisciplinarity, and preparedness and mitigation. What I think is missing sometimes is really this way to speak to people and get, like has been missing in some big conferences with a lot of governance. It was really missing the gender equality viewpoint. So taking really women, and not only women, but also indigenous people as the target point. Because if something is working for them, then it's working for all the population. This is my feeling. Education on gender equality. So more and more people, and it's not only the difference in sex, it's also the difference on background, the difference on needs, and the difference if there is a special need. This is gender equality also. So not only male and female, not only the sex difference. Use of chemicals, their effects, exposure. So this is very important. I mean, sometimes some people are using detergents or just spray, and they are doing nothing. Instead, there is a big meaning, particularly if you're a man, woman, and particularly in some moments of your life. And then what do we mean with climate change? And its big relationship with the toxicological impact, with body diseases, with safety, food security. So here you have some references where I took some of the slides, some of the papers, and we'll leave the presentation, so it can be probably interesting. And I just wanted to thank you, and due to time, unfortunately can't be there personally, please feel free to contact me, send me question, collaboration, so possibility of collaboration and comments to this email you see here, boriani.elena@gmail.com. And thank you again to be part of this webinar.
Thank you, Dr. Elena, for your awesome and great presentation. How there's an hazard it's totally different to discuss things related to hazards related to the endocrine system, and actually that's totally different. So because of that, as I remember from the previous webinars, a lot of attendees asked about your presentation. So thank you again for being part of today's webinar. Who is the owner, Can?
Yeah, thank you. And then if anyone has any question and think about, or even they want the PDF of the presentation for the references, feel free to, I can send you the PDF so you can send that.
Uh, sure. Thank you so much, Professor, for your great presentation. If any of the audience have any question, please feel free to unmute yourself and to discuss that with Dr. Elena. Also, you can share any questions to her via email. After we finish the webinar, we will share the speaker's details with you with you. And now, before moving on to our last session, I'd like to apologize on behalf of Professor Jeff Wilson from Novometrics Canada that he couldn't attend today's webinar, unfortunately, because he's going to discuss things related to communication and One Health. That's an important thing, and to share more about Novometrics. But that's okay. Maybe in the upcoming webinars, we will host them. Please, if any of the audience have any question, please feel free, because we have a previous question from Muhammad Ali, I guess his name, yes. Yes, from Muhammad Ali Riza from Pakistan, and he was asking a question to Dr. Ruba how we can apply the National Action Plan individually. In case Dr. Ruba she couldn't answer it right now, she will share the answer with you via email. Um,
Yes,
oh yeah,
Dr. Renda.
yeah. Please, thank you.
Um, yeah, but could you please like explain to me, Muhammad, what do you mean by individually? Like individually according to country or according to sector?
Muhammad Ali, are you with us? Maybe he had left the meeting. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
mm,
Uh,
it's
Muhammad
okay.
Ali, that's okay. Um, okay. Maybe I will check him in the WhatsApp group, and then we can you can share the answer with him via email.
Sure, sure. I'm
Yeah,
happy to explain the process of implementing the National Action Plan at a national level whenever, or maybe we can assign a meeting for that because it's a long answer. Thank you, Doctor.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Dr. Roba. Um, Again, we'd like to thank the audience for attending today's meeting. But before ending today's webinar, we'd like to share we'd like to share some or a brief introduction about our partner, EFSA Alumni. So I'm gonna share our screen right now, uh, and I'm gonna present their presentation since on behalf of the chairperson, since I'm the external relation officer. Okay, so please just bear with me a few moments. Okay, can you see my screen? Oh,
No.
Not yet.
okay, right now, can you see it?
No, 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 no.
Now.
It's coming now. Yes.
Oh, great. Thank you. Okay, so شوف كيف تفتح هاي فول سكرين يا رب تظبط. Okay, so today we're gonna share some a brief introduction about EFSA Alumni. Since I was part of the network in the previous year and also this year. So first of all, our small working group would like to thank EFSA Alumni for partnering with us this time. So briefly, the EFSA Alumni, it's a network made up by veterinary graduates from all over the world. you can become an EFSA, a part of the EFSA alumni or member of the EFSA alumni by completing your veterinary degree, registering to the EFSA alumni network, and paying a lifelong membership fee, 15 euros. Okay, so you would pay that once per your life. For example, in Jordan, we don't have an EFSA, so I've become a part of EFSA alumni because it's not related to if you university part of the EFSA or not. Okay, so you can join general assemblies of EFSA as an observer. That's one of the benefits of being a member. Also, apply to join other selected EFSA activities. You can also stay in touch with vets all over the world, join and participate in alumni events and projects, receive benefits from partners of the EFSA alumni network, and access all EFSA resources, educative resources, wellness kit. As we mentioned, that you can become a member by just applying to the EFSA alumni through an application, a Google form. They will request from you an invoice. You will pay only 15 euros lifelong membership fee, and then you will send the proof to the alumni chairperson. And for this term is Dr. Shamiso. She is the chairperson. Okay. They are involved in too many projects. Also, one of the project is the Mentor Mentee project. This is a nice project if you're a veterinarian who would like to share his experience with students from all over the world. Alumni network event. It was this at the beginning of this year in Slovenia. Also, alumni case presentation. It's open to students and network members. And before ending our presentation, so there's another plans that they are looking for, preparing young vet toolkit, alumni benefit revamp, and also postgraduate database. And you can contact Dr. Shamiso if you have any inquiries related to the EFSA. And that's it. Again, I'd like to thank EFSA for partnering with us in this webinar. And before ending our webinar, I'd like to ask the audience, please just fill the Google form to receive your certificate of attendance. Yes, Gabrielle.
Hi, I don't know if you read in chat, but we can't do it because only the owner can open it.
Only the okay, that's okay, dear. Okay. Please, who had attended this meeting, you can just write down your name and you can just send it to me a message in WhatsApp, okay? Because
Okay,
I have a screenshot for the names.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So again, please, Malik and Michael, if you have anything to add.
Thank you, Dr. Randa. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time, your presence, most especially our wonderful and awesome presenters today. And we hope when next time we call on you, you will surely answer us. Thank you so much, Professor Caesar, for also giving us this opportunity to meet through this platform. We appreciate your efforts, sir. And I thank my co-panelist, Mr. Michael, for also standing by us too. You're wonderful. So till next time we meet again, I wish you good night or good afternoon, or anywhere you are in the part of the world. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Michael, do you want to add anything? Professor Caesar also. You are awesome, Professor Caesar. Thank you.
That's all for me.
And sorry, don't forget that to follow us on our social media platforms. I think I'm going to share our medias, our social media handles on WhatsApp. So please kindly endeavor to follow us. We are on Instagram, we are on LinkedIn, and we are also on Twitter. And we have our official website now. So you can also visit our website time to time so that you learn more or gain more of educative and insightful events. And anytime you want to partner with our small working group, you are always welcome. So don't hesitate to contact us. We have our official email. You can contact us through that. I think maybe we can send it to the group, to our WhatsApp group. So that's it. Thank you. Mr. Michael, do you have anything else to say?
No, nothing more. Thanks a lot for everything, guys.
All right. So, you're welcome. So I guess we can call it a day. Dr. Randa.
Yes. No need for Dr. Randa, just Randa.
All right. Okay,
We are
Randa.
team, Dr. Randa, Mr. Mike. We're team, come on, man. We're friends. So, so
All right.
awesome,
All right.
awesome people. Thank you so much. As yes, as Malik mentioned before, that we will share all of our social media channels via our WhatsApp group. You can contact Malik also for any further inquiries related to the webinars. We'd like to thank Dr. Caesar for yes, it's a special
Yeah.
thank
Oh,
for
yeah.
Dr. Caesar.
And,
Yes.
hold on. Sorry, Randa. I just remember that we are conducting a survey concerning knowledge and perception of food security and safety among health students in Africa and Asia, right? And I don't know if we can share the questionnaires with our participants so that they can also participate in the survey. What do you think?
Yes, that's correct. Since now we're expanding our member network, so yes, that's correct. Please, Malik will share further details also related to the survey. Um, what do you think? After we finish the webinar, you will find also the recording in our YouTube channel, and further details about our small working group. We are Malik, Michael, Professor Caesar, Professor Marcella, Randa, Mohsen, Faith, from the one. Did I miss? Yes, Joseph. Sorry, Joseph. Yes, from the Food Safety, Food Security Small Working Group, One Health Commission. If you need anything, please just contact us. And it's our pleasure to host you today. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good
Yeah.
night.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Brenda.
Thank you so
Bye
Bye.
bye.
much. Bye bye. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.